Hello. I still exist. Don't adjust your screens. That's not important right now. Video games are. I've made it very clear in the past that I am a fan of owning and collecting boxed copies of games. I mean, it's kind of obvious. And I'm not the only one that thinks this either. I've always preferred having boxes for games for quite some time now. The game shelf has always been one of the staples of my housing for the last few years, and there's just something about holding a game in my hand that appeals to me more than clicking a few buttons and waiting 67 hours for a download. Don't get me wrong, in modern gaming, that 67-hour wait is still present in boxed games, but my point still stands. I'm not saying that I'm against downloads. I do own a healthy PS4 download collection thanks to PlayStation Plus giving away their free games every month. I have a decent Steam library from when I was primarily a PC gamer when I was on £3.74 an hour, and my favourite game of all time, World of Warcraft, is download only. But that didn't stop me from getting a boxed copy of Cataclysm though. I haven't always been this way however. When I was younger, I was a fool. I never took care of the games I owned. In fact, most of the games on my shelf are not the copies I had when I was younger. This copy of Spyro Heroes Tale is my second, so are my copies of Madagascar and Cell Damage Overdrive, and this copy of Sonic Heroes is my fifth, and no, I'm not exaggerating that. What do you want?
I hear you're talking about Sonic Heroes.
Go away.
Rude.
Right, where was I? Ah, yeah. I'm not exaggerating when I say that's my fifth copy of Sonic Heroes. I had a problem as a child. You know, I would just take games and just... In fact, one of the only games in this collection that I know for sure is my original copy is... Which is ironic, seeing as that game is total shit and deserves to be scratched by the immature 8-year-old I was, who looking back I want to kick in the face for how we treated games. So, what was it that made me change my ways and start treating these damn games with some respect? YouTube. Back in 2012, around the time he was starting out with reviews, I stumbled across Caddicarus. I've been watching him since his Crash Bash review came out and followed and loved his content ever since. However, one of the main takeaways I took from his channel was pizza. Oh god, that's a terrible joke. Why did I write that? One of the main takeaways I took from his channel was the fact that his game collection was awe-inspiring. Caddy would regularly show off his collection of retro and modern games alongside the DVDs and Blu-rays he had. As the years have gone on, the collection has grown and it's something I aspire to. I won't dwell on this too much because I don't want to make this a Caddicarus fan video, but around this time I also started discovering other YouTube gamers and reviewers such as The Completionist and Some Call Me Johnny, or if you want to go really OG, Pat Strikes Back and The Stimulant. More recently, I've seen Scott the Woz's collection, which is insane, but that's mostly because of the amount of Wii U games he has. Seriously, Scott, are you okay? Blink twice if you need help. From there, I decided that I would take more care of the games I owned, but by then it was too late. When I was 17, I took the games that I had, and that were working, and placed them on a shelf.
But there was one small problem.
The house we were in at the time didn't have enough space in my bedroom for a shelf in plain view. However, there was a bookcase shoved between the bed and the wall. There was hardly any space to move and I could just about fit in to get the game I wanted to sort it out, but it was my first gaming shelf, so I can't really complain. However, a few months later, we moved and I had a considerably bigger room and a lot more space for a shelf. And there was also a sink in that room for some reason. As the collection was growing, I was becoming very proud of what I had made, and it featured prominently in most of my videos in the house, and for good reason. I wanted to show it off, and I was so proud of it that I even included a time-lapse of me dismantling it in the second episode of the week, that time I tried weekly vlogging. Oh look, there it is again, 2 episodes later in the new house. After we moved, I replaced it with a standard white IKEA bookcase and have been with that one ever since. Over time, the collection grew and it now sits pride of place in my living room. So now that we've gathered I'm a collector, rather than calling it what it has the potential to be, which is hoarding, you've most likely answered the question I posed in the title of this video: why do I prefer boxed games? However, there are a few more reasons than the fact that I like to hoard plastic boxes. I need them! The main two being, not only do they look good, they're easy access to classic games that you may not be able to find anywhere else. You've spent money on what one day may be considered a collector's item, and it sits there on your shelf valuing itself with age. Yes, Nintendo are currently saying fuck you to collectors by digitizing and making available via Virtual Console a lot of their old games, but nothing is more satisfying than holding that copy of Pokemon Red in your hand rather than playing it on your 3DS. Instead, you're playing it the way God intended, on your Dragon Markings Game Boy Advance SP. Yeah, that's right. I've got the cool Dragon Markings on my GBA. The kids at school knew not to fuck with me. Actually, they didn't. I valued it too much to risk losing or breaking it. I've made it clear in the past to friends and over on my Twitch that I don't buy new games on release, with a few notable exceptions this year. This is mainly because new releases require a second mortgage to continuously buy on release, and for someone who keeps their games and can't sell them, it becomes a problem. So instead, I wait for a while for people to start selling their copies and pick up a used copy a few months or even years down the line. This one mainly applies to modern games, as retro games pricing depend on the game itself. Some of them can be incredibly expensive and some of them not so much. It really depends on the title, rarity and quality of the game. Compare this to the price of digital releases, more so in the case of Nintendo, who rarely drop their prices that much. Mario Odyssey is still selling for £60 on the eShop despite being 4 years old now. I mean, come on Nintendo. I know it's a platform defining title, but I can buy it for considerably less boxed and pre-owned somewhere else. So enough beating around the bush, now it's time to show you my collection, seeing as I've been non-stop going on about it for the last however long this video is. I want to preface this by saying that this is not an impressive collection. Compared to some, it is tiny, and it's missing what some would consider classics. Also, it's primarily a PlayStation collection, as that's mostly what I game on. I have been looking into other consoles recently, such as the Wii or the GameCube, but for now it is mostly PlayStation, so deal with it. Starting from the top, we have a board games and miscellaneous crap section. I should point out that some of these actually belong to my flatmate Rachel. However, Muffin Time, Cards Against Humanity, Truth Bombs, and all the sketchbook binders are mine. Those binders contain some of my old coursework from university and will never see the internet. Ever. This shelf also houses my unboxed Spyro and Sparks Funko Pop, which I'm very protective over. Seriously, if something ever happened to it, my thirst for blood would be harder to sate than it by killing a few Norks. Behind it all, in this coffee tin, is my Game Boy collection and tiny accessories for the DS. Also an iPod for some reason. Moving down, we have some fossils. On the other side of this shelf, we have the DS and 3DS collection, which is fairly underwhelming, and CDs. I only have 2 CDs in my collection. The first one being my favourite band, Area 11's second studio album, Modern Synthesis, which I only bought because I found it in HMV when I was just in there looking for some headphones and had a mini freakout. And the second one is a signed copy of Emma Blackery's debut album, Villains, which my good friend, Twitch mod and streamer Ewan, aka Sigma1999TV, got for me when she came to Southend to do an album signing and live show, which I couldn't attend due to me being at work. You should also check out that video that you've just seen of Ewan's because I'm in it and I make it 10 times better. You're welcome. Link in the description. Moving down the shelf, we have my PS1 collection. PlayStation 1 was the first console I ever played and holds a special place in my heart. It just sucks that most of the games are so bloody expensive to get these days. I would like to expand this a little more in the future, as there are many titles such as Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, and Resident Evil that I do not own. However, I'm more than happy with what I have so far. Most of the games aren't replacements on this shelf for the games I ruined as a child, luckily, so a lot of them are new-ish additions to my collections, including one more down, we have the PS2 collection, which was the main bulk of my collection that needed replacing after the wrath of young me. Most of this is just replacements of the games I had when I was younger. However, there are a few new additions to the collection, more notably moving down, we have the PS3 and 4 shelf, which isn't too impressive, but that doesn't mean, however, that this shelf is safe from those piano stings. Lastly, we have the Switch, DVD and Blu-ray shelf, which has a very poor Switch collection. I just don't play it enough and they're all still quite expensive. And one of the best films of all time, The Room. Fun fact, I've met Tommy Wiseau and have a signed copy of the script that I bought. I also for some reason own Birdemic on Blu-ray. Yeah, it's better if you don't ask about that one. And that's it. Oh, it feels good to be doing this again. So what does this mean for the channel? Well, in all honesty, I don't know. The fact that you're seeing this is a miracle in itself. This could be the long overdue regeneration that the channel has needed, though I won't be turning into a woman anytime soon. Woohoo! Doctor Who joke! But it also might not be. We'll see where the future takes us. I don't want to make promises because I've done that in the past. And, well, anyone that's been here before, you know where that usually ends up. In the shitter. But like I said, the fact that you're seeing this from me is some form of miracle because it means I've had some form of creative rejuvenation, so it could be a good thing. Don't forget though that I am primarily on Twitch these days. I stream 5 days a week. There is a link in the description, or you can find me at twitch.tv/ThePandrus. But wherever you may be in the world, stay safe in these weird times. Wash your hands, wear your bloody mask over your nose, and stay fucking hydrated. See ya! Special thanks to No More Heroes 98 for appearing in this video. You can check out his Twitch in the description below.